Hey guys, episode 29 of the ISA portfolio series. If you want to sign up to Trading212 and get free share, use my link in the description or in the pinned comment and deposit £1. So this week, been a bit choppy, bit up and down. I did say last week that I would see a fair loss in the gold and silver stocks. So that has come. A little bit worse than I thought. Down about 5,500. Seen a bit of a drop in gold price this week as well. But can only see this as temporary, really. The US have just passed their new stimulus bill. So I think it's about $1.9 trillion. Makes it about $2.8 trillion just printed so far this year. We're only halfway through January, so just see this being a temporary move, and sort of inflation eventually coming and pushing this up. So we'll see. Got to have a bit of patience with that. In the Trading212 ISA, not too much move this week, although some stuff has been a little bit volatile. The ARC hasn't done particularly much, some up and some down in there, but stayed about the same level. Alibaba starting to recover a little bit from the sort of bad news potentially. I think sort of Jack Ma's back from the sort of little break that he was taking and starting to look a bit better again. Some of the REITs are down. American Towers up a little bit, but none of these are sort of moving particularly. Bitcoin taking a real hit on the last week, sort of at the a relative high over the weekend and the previous weekend, so seems to dump during the week, but obviously up fairly well on that, so not too bothered to see a bit of a drop in that. The gold miners, obviously the ETFs have dropped, the individual ones have dropped as well, so sentiment practically back down to what I paid for it, about £1.12, but positive on these sort of going forward, just a temporary blip in my opinion. So First Majestic Silver as well, 9% down. Still fairly well up on these, but it's still a 10% drop. And a few of the other sort of small penny stocks doing reasonably well. See, one within the ARC is up to down a little bit on the day, but up on the week, and 235% up overall. Pity it's only a small amount, but yeah, they all move in different amounts in the ARC. Legal and General hasn't really done too much, neither is Nintendo. Polymetal not down quite as much as Sentiment and First Majestic and the other gold stocks, but sort of hadn't really pumped up too hard when the others were going up, so down 6% on that. Not too high up, yeah, I'm only 5% up on that now, but still see it going up longer term with the others. Bought a little bit more into realty income in the ISA this week, so not too bad on that. Yeah, not really too many other big movers this week. I think Roku is still sort of up over $400 now, really thinking about sort of taking this off and yeah, just getting rid. It's not really one I wanted to hold all that long term. Shell hasn't really done too much. Some of the other REITs and ARC bits, but the big saviour of the week is Sylvania Platinum, really starting to sort of show some gain at the moment. Nearly 13% up on the week. Been saying this for a while now. It looks good. Still think it looks good. Expecting reasonable dividend on this. I think they're announcing their sort of earnings at the end of the month. And if they announce the dividend, then can sort of see everyone suddenly posting this everywhere, saying you can get a 10+% dividend, and it'll probably go up a bit on that. So pretty happy with that. I may take a little bit off if it sort of really rockets after the end of January. It's already 7,200 of the ISA. So it's a quarter of the ISA. I don't really want that much exposure to what is still a penny stock. Taylor Wimpey taking a small dip, but nothing too much. Tritex Big Box had what is normally sort of fairly stable REIT, had a little bit of a pump up, so that's good. Obviously I want that to be a bigger position, really, not just £350, but we'll see. Virgin Galactic, I think this is off the back of a new ARK Invest ETF on space exploration companies. People thinking that this will be sort of one of the big holdings, so could potentially be some decent money coming into that. I'm only up 10%. I was sort of up a little bit more, and then it took a huge crash. But yeah, so that is the ISA. Not too much change overall, but keeping fairly steady. And over to the invest account. So previous week, on Sunday I sold some Bitcoin. Sold some altcoins actually, no Bitcoin, and put the money into here. So on the week, seen a fair sort of rocket up in this invested amount, and put that into all sorts really. A little bit into 3M, a little bit into Alibaba, some more into Archer Daniels, over 2,000 now. And nothing into Barrett or Broadcom or Caterpillar or Diageo. Left those for now. Doesn't seem sort of too good value at the moment. Or I was quite happy with Barrett, but didn't really want to put anything more just yet. Put a little bit more into eBay, a little bit more into FedEx. Intel I left alone, but it's taken a nice little run up. I think the CEO has resigned, and people are seeing this as positive. They're going to take a new direction. So, yeah, interesting. Nobody likes to sort of see the price rocket up if you were the CEO. Obviously, thinking people are not happy with you then, but there you go. But yeah, a lot of the money this week went into the ETFs. So put another sort of 2,000 into the emerging markets ETF. Quite bullish on this going forward. So more going in there. It's a fairly big position now. MSCI Japan. Wanted sort of, again, a bit more diversification. That sort of doesn't seem to behave quite as the rest of the markets all the time, so like that bit of diversification. Global clean energy and global water, nothing in those this week. Europe, MSCI Europe mid cap. Again, sort of not 100% sure how this is going to go over the short term, but wanted a bit of diversification into Europe, so quite happy with this ETF. Most of these are all on the ETF pie video that I did a little while ago, so just sort of finally buying into these. Nothing else in any of these in the last week. Opened a new position in Lennar, so US house builder. Wanted to get a bit more house builder exposure, and I didn't have these on the pie, the long-term stock pie, but just didn't really want to put any more into Barrett or Taylor Wimpey at the moment, and thought they're both UK. This one's sort of a US, generally sort of the US I always thought seemed a bit more expensive, considering they do tend to just throw a load of houses onto the market sometimes, because most of them are timber frame. But Lennar seems fairly cheap for what they're doing, sort of projected growth. So quite happy with them. Lockheed Martin still sort of trading around fairly good levels. If I get any more money, I would think that's probably going to be going into them. Still down overall. Micron, I did sell out of Western Digital. Seem very, very similar to Micron. Both sort of down, on the year or sort of previous year. But Micron just seem a little bit better going forward. Basically, seem to have a better balance sheet, better sort of projected earnings and less risk. Well, they're not down on the in the last year, but seem to have performed relatively similarly to Western Digital in the last sort of 6 months or so, and just seemed like these were slightly better sort of prospect for the next year with less risk. So not in the dividend pie, won't be holding it forever, but just quite like that sort of recovery play. Neo, really thinking of getting rid of as soon as it sort of pumps up back to where it was a little while ago, sort of in the 60s. Not a market cap that I'm happy with at the moment, so it's only a small position. Bought some more Porsche, which is basically Volkswagen stock, but slightly undervalued. Fairly happy with them. So that's about 3,000 in sort of Porsche and Volkswagen now. So quite happy with that. Didn't buy any more Raytheon or Rio Tinto. Shell's still doing pretty well, but I left that as it is. Siemens, pretty happy with them. A little bit down since I bought, but should be adding to that if they continue to come down. Look a reasonable prospect going forward. One of the stocks in the long-term stocks pie. Another one of the ETFs, US small cap value. But a reasonable amount of this, and it's sort of gone up slightly in the last week. It looks like a big move, but it's small percentages. But yeah, wanted to get into that. A little bit more Sylvania Platinum in here, so I'll sell that off at some point. TSMC is sort of still going up. Again, not really too keen to add to this at these prices. It's in the long-term pie, but just a little bit expensive for me at the moment. And Tyson Foods, fairly flat for the week. Would continue putting more into this if I get more funds. But that's sort of where the money's been going at the moment, from selling out of my crypto. It's all sort of going in here, and this is what I was sort of happy to add to over the last week. Can't see anything. If I were to sell some more stuff and put some more money in here, can't really see any new investments that I would make. I think it would just sort of be averaged across a lot of these, really. So see what happens. I don't think I'll be investing all that much more in the next week, or couple of weeks, really. I think everything else needs a bit of time to calm down, and then maybe sort of end of January, early February may start sort of selling some other bits and adding more to this. So that's the portfolio for the week. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Drop a like, as always appreciated, and subscribe if you want to see more. See you soon.